Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with the next Scrap-A-Sketch with Lisa Sikorsky. And here is the sketch she created. This is another bonus sketch that she created for the 20th. And it is a whatever season you want to do. So, like I said, this is a bonus sketch and it's got some big diamonds, which actually are just triangles in different patterns. There's some mixed media. It's just a single picture, some embellishments, and the layout is matted. So I decided I'm going to use this Summer Road Trip by Recollections. It's a paper pad that I have not even opened. It is still taped closed, but because of the picture I'm using, I felt like this was perfect. I have my Simple Stories Going Places stencil, and I'm going to put this Distress paint from Ranger Tim Holtz through it in Walnut Stain. I got a couple of different embellishments, stickers, and ephemera that I have collected for camping and outdoor things. Because this is the picture that I am scrapbooking. It's my husband. He went on a hiking adventure one day last year in the spring. So I will be writing that date down at some point in the middle of this video so that I don't lose that information. So I'm going to move this stack right here out of the way. This is my beach pictures that I just had printed. There's over 300 pictures. Some of them are really small, but you all will be seeing lots of that. It was hard for me not to do a summer layout today because I really want to do those, even though they were taken in the spring. You know, beach pictures are pretty summery. So anyway, I have my papers, my inks, and my picture, and this awesome sketch. So let's see how this goes. So the first thing I did was open my paper pad, and it is a cardstock paper, so it is thicker, which I love. I've gotten to where that's really the only paper I buy, even in paper pads. I picked this grid paper because I felt like it would be best for the mixed media, and then I wanted something to mat it on, and I picked this paper because I don't really have a whole lot of need for deer paper, but you really can't even tell very much that there are deer on it. It's just that green evergreen color. So I set that aside. I put down my stencil and I am reaching for a paintbrush. I'm going to give you all a heads up. This does not work out the way that I was planning. First, make a big old mess because this Distress paint is thin. It is, so it seeps underneath the stencil. So I should have used some type of a texture paste or something a little thicker. It would have worked better. It wasn't this. So I'm just saying, you're about to see what a mess it makes. But I am stubborn and refuse to waste. So I go through and I was inking, just wanted to do like the top right, a little over on the top left, and then some on the bottom right, or the bottom left. Now look, you can't I mean, you can tell that it's a geotag, but you can't tell the definition. It's all kind of blobbed together. So I set that down, and I really actually like the way that it turns out. I decided that I'm just going to get the ink off and see if I can salvage this. So I just put it down using a paper towel and ink. No, I'm not inking you all. And just kind of wipe the paint that is extra off. And I'm so impressed that I did not make a bigger mess with this. So I just put a little on the paper towel and ink through it all over the top. And this is going to be the right of the paper. So then I have this excess left after I'm done, and I just wipe it off, cleaning my mat. And I did it on this green paper because I have plans to use this. And I thought no point in wasting that stain or that paint. So I just wipe it off with the towel on top of this green paper. And it's just a scrap, so if it ruined it, fine, no big deal. So I wipe it off and get the majority of it off of there. And I set it aside so it can dry a little. And then I get out my Mowed Lawn in Distress Oxide by Tim Holtz, and I tap it all around, pretty much all over, mostly in the corners because I know that's the only thing that's really going to be seen. And I tap it not generously necessarily, but I want to make sure there's some in every corner. I shake it a little bit, and then I'm going to get my little Tim Holtz mister, and I'm going to mist them all so that it can oxidize as well as spread. So I just spray it lightly. I don't want to spray a lot because I don't want the paper to get too warped. I don't mind it getting some, but I don't want it to be too terribly warped. Plus, that paint is not an oxide. So just to pick up the excess, I just take another piece of green paper. Actually, I think it's the same piece of green paper. And I just tap it so that it will pull up the excess. And I actually really like the way this looks. It's a picture of outside. It's supposed to be kind of dirty. I didn't want it to look like a big mud puddle, but I still like the way that it turned out. You can see where some of the geotags are, especially on the bottom left and the upper left. So it actually ended up looking really cool. Another thing I'm going to tell you right now, I'm picking the papers that I want to use for the diamonds or triangles. And I'm not wanting anything about camping because he didn't really go camping at this trip. He just went hiking. And so there's like campers and stuff like that. He'd be offended if I put a camper on the layout about him going hiking. And I didn't really want these cactus papers, but I like this plaid. Okay, I can't cut a straight line to save my life, you all. So these little diamond things are going to look wonky. Now, I love the way they turn out, but I am not one to teach you how to properly cut. Now, I could have done it on my Cricut, and if I had decided that I wanted to do that, I could have cut a diamond on my Cricut in one page and then cut it in half with my trimmer. But instead, I free-handed it, and I made them even so at least they'd be wonky together. Now look how wonky that is. You all, I am not the person to teach anyone how to properly trim or cut. So, but I do get them together, and I do love the way they look. And you really can't tell once they're down how wonky they are. But I am definitely a off-kilter wonky person. So I alternate and have the plaid on the top on the one on the right and the plaid on the bottom on the one on the left, so that they don't necessarily meet, at least where you can't see where they meet because it's covered up by the picture. So I get those down, and I'm going to put the first one down, which is the one that's a little lower. At least on mine, it's a little lower. And then I keep it lifted up with my scissors so that I can tape the other one so I can tuck it behind there. And really it doesn't matter because you can't see where they connect. I could have put the left one on top of the right one, but I wasn't sure where the picture was going to go, so I wanted to make sure that I had them in the way that I would have wanted them. So after I get that down, I decide that I'm going to make the geotags a little bit more visual. So I put it in my spray box, and I spray it with the Distress Oxide in the walnut stain, which is the same color that I used for the paint. And I put a piece of paper down and pick up the majority of that brown. I don't want it to be like in your face, but I also don't want to waste the ink, so I'm going to lift it with this scrap paper. So here's what it looks like. You can see a little bit of it. I'm terrible about pulling things too close to me. And I'm just getting a piece of scratch paper so I can make sure there's nothing wet on there. And so I don't want it to have that brown streaks down the side, so I just tear them. It gives it a more distressed look, and I'm good with that since like he's out roughing it with his hiking poles, or his trekking poles, which you can see over his shoulder in the picture. And he's got his backpack one. I almost added a backpack sticker, and because it's even red like his, but I think I already have used that same backpack on one of his layouts, so I decided against it. My picture I did not want to trim down, so I decided to mat it. I pulled a yellow piece of paper out to see if that would work, but it is too bright, and then that lime green was too bright. So I found another one that was a little bit more of a, it's not mint by any means. I don't know what color that is. I don't know my colors, y'all. It's a shade of green. But I decided that I'm going to use that. It's enough of a difference from the green that I have just distressed to where you can tell. So see what I did there? I wrote down the information from the back of the picture. Take this advice from me. If you've got any information on the back of your picture, write it on a Post-it note or something so that you don't lose it and have to try and pull your picture up to get the details or go hunting for it somewhere. I am terrible about that. So I'm trying to help you all. Help me help you. So I get that picture on there and I trim out the mat. The mat was a 6.5 by 4.5. I only wanted a thin border. I don't want to cover up any more of that paper right there that I have already done. I don't want to cover any more of that paper than I already have. Gosh, you all, I can't talk. Okay, so I get the ink, the tape down and the glue down, and then I realize there's a little banner or a torn-edged something or another behind the picture that goes across pretty much the middle of the page. So there is this border strips in the paper pad, and I find this little green one that looks like a little road, and then the brown above it. And I know they're two separate ones, but I don't care. It works out just fine for me, and I like that there's a little difference in the coloring. So I cut those out together. I leave them together, and I'm going to cut them so I'm really only using part of this because there's no point in putting the whole thing back there. And so all it says on one side is hit, because I think it says hit the road, and then on the other side it says let's travel. So really all you see is the let's travel, because that most of that work, the other side gets covered up. I think it says hit the gravel. So I get those kind of lined up. I put the picture down so I know where I'm putting things, and I pretty much stuck to the sketch, minus my snafu with the inking situation. If I was doing a pretty layout, then it would have been different, but because this was kind of a grungy, dirty layout anyway, I definitely don't mind the brown hodgepodge of mixed media on the top right. So I get all that down, and then I'm going to start embellishing. So I have these stickers, and they came with, so I don't even know. Obviously, there was a top to it, and I must have cut it off because it didn't fit in the things that I used to hold them in. So I couldn't tell you where they came from or what company they're from. But this circle is perfect, and I pull it off. It's like a wood, and it says, "Remember at all times that you are but a part of the wilderness, not its ruler." And it's a quote by Michael Hogston. And so I thought that was perfect. There's actually a circular feature in the sketch, so it kind of worked out perfectly there. There's a piece of it looks like a stump with some twine around it. I tuck that up at the top. And then I pull out these stickers. I'm trying to decide which of these hiking stickers I want to use. And I like this 3D one right here by Jolie's, but I decide that I want to go with the stickopotamus ones instead. Or maybe they were Jolie's too. Y'all, I couldn't tell you. They are Sticko by EK Success. Yep, I'm looking. And it is called Hiking. And I just pull some of those off because the colors are going to match well enough. I don't know. But because they're clear stickers, I put them on some off-white colored scrap paper. And I just fussy cut around those. And I just tuck everything around. Like I put the hiking shoes down right on top of that circular feature. I tuck the compass up in the top left corner, the little hiking trail symbol and sign. And then after that, I look and see that it needs some journaling. So I pull these three. One says, "Do small things with great love." And I just line this up here where the green and the brown border strip are meeting. And then I took this one that says "See the World" up at the top, right on top of that wood and that hiking trail sign. And then the last one says, listen to your heart. And this is definitely my husband's heart telling him, because he loves to camp and hike. So, and then I'm looking at it, trying to see if I need anything else. I'm really pretty happy with it. But I do have these Stickopotamus shoe prints. And so it's like a solid shoe print, and then there's like a hiking shoe print. And so I just tuck some in a few different places. And I just like what that adds to the layout. Some of them are just peeking out a little, and it's not anything major, but it's just something a little extra. So I'm going to show you this sketch one more time, and then I'm going to show you the close-ups. It's on slow-mo. I hope that you all will go to Facebook and check out Scrap a Sketch. Lisa Sikorsky makes some really cool layouts or sketches, well, layouts as well. And this month we are doing 3 every weekend, plus we've had 2 bonus ones so far. This one, and we had one this past Monday. This weekend we are doing winter. And so I'm going to step away from beach scrapbooking and scrapbook some winter pictures. So that will be fun. So I hope you all go check them out over on Facebook. And I hope you all come back again on Friday for another Scrap a Sketch winter layout. Have a great day and happy scrapping.